Are we almost there? Sorry. Hey, welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. Pastor Jardula here.
And I'm Fiorella.
Hey, Johnny Sue is on the ones and twos. I was just about to say, guys, I got applauded by high schoolers today when I ran. I only ran about 20 feet, but I ran fast. I was doing my hike, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to take the ankle for a test drive here. It's feeling good. And I started running, and they were walking around the track, and someone was like, go! And everybody's like, yeah! So about 12.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You should have filmed that. That would have been comedic.
Film it. I was huffing and puffing. I could barely
Johnny,
breathe.
where were you? What the hell?
I walked up the hill by the high school. I do my normally hike. I'm like, all right, here goes.
That's not even
First
the big
time.
hill.
Or
was it the big hill?
It's the steep hill.
Okay.
Steep
Yeah,
hill.
that one's hard.
Yeah, I've been doing that now. That's been my point, and I go past a block each day. Now I got to the end of the fence of the thing, so I had to run back towards the next block, and then tomorrow I'll run back 2 blocks,
Run,
and then I'll run back 3 blocks. Run, fat boy, run! But I mean, that's what kind of the moment was. One skinny dude was like, "Yeah!" And then a couple of the high school people started clapping. I'm like, all right, stop making fun of the chubby guy run.
Dun, 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 dun.
I was like, where's the ice cream truck?
It's hot today.
Yeah, it was only a 20-foot run. I could handle it.
I was just gonna say, we were talking about, the impending apocalypse, and I said, I have to protect Pasta at all costs because he's the cook.
Yes.
So, and I said, we were saying that the people who don't touch grass were just always online. They're going to be the first to go. You know, all those Twitter idiots I'm talking about. They're going to be the first to go. They have no idea how to survive outside a computer. And I'm like, this is why I've been going to the gym, to get ready. So I can save you. So I can save a bunch of people. And yeah, I'm going to go to the country and learn how to get my aim really well with a gun, because I've never shot a gun before.
Me too.
Right? And I'm not a gun person. I used to be very anti-gun. So now, I want to learn how to use one, so I'm not the idiot that doesn't know how to use one. Because the left needs to, whatever. You can call yourself whatever at this point. But it's
SRA.
there's a lot of the people that have guns are on the right. And so it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to be a moron. I got to know how to use these things. And I'm really good at darts. So I'm wondering, maybe I'll be good at hitting the little targets. Now, I don't practice on animals as a vegan, but we'll practice on cans and stuff. So
the other survival skill, fam, is agriculture. Start planting stuff, guys. Start taking care of plants. Start getting used to it. You know what I'm saying? We have a basil tree that's lasted about 2 months now, so we're getting better at it. I picked her all plain for when I was making some beautiful pasta the other day.
We're going to survive off the basil.
Off the basil. Start off with basil. Just give it water every day. Water and attention. Talk to it. It gets greener when you talk to it. Like, hey, James.
My grandmother always talked to her plants.
You should.
And they always lived.
You got it. They hear voices. They respond. They respond to laughter, to anger, all that stuff.
Because there's a frequency when you talk to them.
They're living beings. All right, let's not get too into that, because that could be a different
well, then
thing.
why are you vegan?
They're going to be like these.
I speak with an Italian accent to the basil, right? Unless it's Thai basil, then, But most basil, I'm like, how you doing? You feeling good? I'll give you some water.
Fam, that's... your Brooklyn accent's much better.
Yeah, right. Okay, let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Walking through the door, 40 people already on Rokfin, Rokfin. Thank you so much. A. Mares is here. She says, thank you for being amazing. Love you, fams. Trey Wright. Hello, mates. Of course, he was there. Trey, we love you.
Trey.
And Kevin.
What up, Trey?
Shanholzer. The Convo Couch is the best. Better than all the rest. Look at that.
Ah.
Kevin.
What a poet.
He's a poet. You know it. A genius. Go it. Okay, enough of that. We also have 107 plus on YouTube's. Thank you so much to everybody, Jilly Love and Clifton Hicks and Don Erickson and the Drunken Goat. You guys are awesome. And Monarch and Old School are still there. I hope you guys are getting out, get some sun, get some vitamin D. It's important. And we have 4 people watching on Odyssey.
All right, guys, like, share, and subscribe and all that, because we are always throttled. And this is going to be a great show because we have a lot to talk about. So one of the things that really irritated me this whole time, right, when I, as a Bernie supporter, really liked Tulsi Gabbard, and I would always talk about the good things she did when it came to foreign policy and the things she talked about. And people were like, still to this day are like, Fiorella supported Tulsi. It's like, actually, I voted for Bernie. And in a way, I was kind of like, damn it, I shouldn't have voted for Bernie either, because he's a complete fraud. I mean, I just went after him just now. And so personally, when what happened with Bernie, when I felt like he let us down, I took it very, 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 to heart. And we saw everything that's transpired since then and how divided we've become and all of this. So I want to hear exactly how you felt, because when I saw that tweet, for me, I was like, this is just contradictory to what you've said before. I mean, this is pandering. There's one thing about Wahhabist extremism, you can point that out. I agree with you. There is an extremist ideology of Wahhabism, and and you can talk about that while not resorting to what seemed like pandering to a certain crowd, xenophobic, a little more pro-war, very much like what echoing the messages of 9/11, which to me is at this point is disgusting. So like, that's how it felt to me. It was like, is she pandering? This doesn't even seem like Tulsi. So yeah. I don't know.
And a lot of people made comments and made tweets. I think Vanessa Bailey made a tweet that said, "This is the unveiling that's coming in front of us." A lot of people said, "I told you so." Like you made me look bad, Tulsi, to the Vanguard. I was talking to those guys the other day, and I was like, "Hey, man, she's not a Islamophobe. That's a wrong statement." And they're like, "Yeah, she is," and whatnot. And this comment came out, and I just want to point out the fact that we were at the small group in Los Angeles. You were up in Sacramento. An amazing job in D.C., the End of Damn Wars, DC, which was all about amazing. Bringing people together, right? Whatever ism, whatever you consider yourself, you come together. Let's go. We all have something in common. We want to end American imperialism, right? It's a big thing. To some, it's the most important thing. I mean, I think it's the racist thing we do as a country when we go around and bomb people in the homeland. We're talking about indigenous things. And then I always point out to a lot of conservatives and, right-wingers that it's your kids who are paying the price, who are being used as pawns to go fight these wars, to the tune that they come back, and even if they're alive, a lot of them check out quickly and commit suicide because they don't want to deal with it because they're suffering from PTSD. So war is a mechanism that's awful, right? And we got to remember every single aspect when it comes to 9/11. We can't leave anything out. And this tweet was a little off color. It just was very confusing, but I said enough is enough. So this was Tulsi Gabbard's tweet. Let us never forget that it was Islamist ideology which inspired the terrorist attacks and declaration of war against America on 9/11. And it's Islamist ideology that continues to fuel terrorist attacks around the world. And blank is the so-called foundation for Islamic countries like Pakistan, Turkey, Iran, Saudi Arabia, discriminatory policies against Christians, Hindus, Buddhists, atheists, etc. Man, this was a hard one to stomach. It really was, because, for me on the campaign trail, Tulsi was always about pointing out, let's end these regime change wars. Let's stop the military-industrial complex for doing what they do. It's Rumsfeld said it many years after.
Yeah.
He said, I think we're creating more terrorists than we're killing right now. Right. And that was the truth. And that was, to me, Tulsi was always focused on American foreign policy as the effect of why there becomes jihads. Now, I just want to break it down why I think this tweet is in poor taste. And we'll talk about this, because I know a lot of people came at me, a lot of Tulsi people that have been following us, and this is what I'm saying. If I was playing it safe, we understand that we have a big Tulsi following, right? We follow Tulsi. We've gotten questions with Tulsi. For me, it was still my proudest vote to this day. I wouldn't change the vote. I probably won't trust any politician moving forward. I've said this before, Tulsi's no Cynthia McKinney. But, we're taking a risk right now from speaking out, right? And I know that's why maybe you were a little surprised, saying, oh man, Pasta is going after him. And this is what I said, and we'll talk about it really quick. I said, for every Tulsi supporter who went to bat for the Congresswoman and defended her against accusations of Islamophobia, you were thrown under the bus today with this comment. Not only is it in poor taste, it is the furthest thing from aloha. I am saddened by this comment. And I still stick by those words.
Right.
And I want to talk about that now, because the number one pushback I got back from a lot of Tulsi people was that, well, Islamist ideology is different than Islam.
Than Muslim, you mean?
Than Islam. No, even Islam. When you say Islamist ideology, a lot of people refer to it as a extremist ideology. In other words, the Islamist ideology would be different to different people. In other words, if you ask Tulsi what it is, she'd probably have a different definition than Louis Farrakhan, right?
Right.
It's very vague. It's up for debate. But what's your thought about her saying, and I'll tell you mine too as well, about her saying Islamist ideology? Do you think that's a fair comment?
No, because it's extremely vague in general. Because to me, first of all, 9/11 didn't happen because of Islamist extremism. It happened because we created the United States, created and weaponized and instilled this like ideology and radicalized it. So when you leave the United States out of it, it's disingenuous to begin with, regardless of the use of the word Islamist. She obviously the Muslim religion and Islam itself, what we've talked about with some of our other comrades, it's like when they say things like death to America, they mean death to like the people at the top, the people in charge.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, so when you conflate, it seems to me that she played it safe by using Islamist ideology to pander, because otherwise she would have said the United States is equally at fault for this. Of course, this was fueled by Islamist extremists, but she didn't. She focused on the Islamic part only. So that's why people are taking it as, oh, this is kind of Islamophobic, because you're not saying anything about really what happened. I mean, we've talked about 9/11. We're not even getting to Building 7. We're not even there yet. I mean, she hasn't even, like, come on, dude. We went to war. We went to war in countries like Afghanistan when it was Saudi Arabia. Like, I'm just like, why is none of that at all mentioned? Like, if you're going to make something so general and you don't explain it in the thread, that's not the fault of people. That's your fault for not, explaining it. I understand what they're saying by, yes, it could be a different interpretation, and she doesn't mean Muslim. She means the religious extremism, but it's way too general for me to draw that conclusion.
It's way too vague. And the way America will interpret that, a lot of Americans, especially, conservatives that's thought it was okay for us doing what we did after 9/11 and going into the other countries and setting them on fire. Like I've said, there's countries that face a 9/11 every day. And that's just a fact. I mean, and the low number is 50,000 civilians have been killed since 9/11. And that's a low number, not to mention that American bombs, kill 50,000 humans every fucking year.
Yeah, and not to mention, Pasta, real quick, she hasn't said anything about Israel-Palestine.
Yeah.
So added to that, that was my thing.
That was one of my pissed off. That was like, you're on very thin ice now, Congresswoman, and this just broke it.
Right, because then it's just like a trend, and it's like, this doesn't stand alone.
Yeah, it doesn't stand alone. And you have to be specific. She could have said Islamist extremism. She could have said Wahhabi extremism. I'm saying there's other words she could use, fanaticals, whatnot. But when you're broad like this, and once again, that word is argumentative, right? A lot of people, it means different things to different people. But you know damn well that Americans, especially the majority of them, can be duped. Just the way they were duped in 9/11.
Right.
That we went into Iraq when Iraq had nothing to do with the Twin Towers. And it was this type of language. You're either with us or with the terrorist. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of things. And it's like, well, what difference does it make a difference of a Sunni and a Shiite? You know what I'm saying? And people are like, does this guy even know what a Sunni and a Shiite is, or what he's doing and where he's going? I mean, does he even understand? This was George Bush we're talking about. So when you talk that vague, to me, you're capitulating, right?
Right.
You should have been specific. If you had been specific, if you put the word extremism right after Islam, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to say she's absolutely right, because these are crazy jihads. But number two to me was what you talked about too as well.
Right.
The main thing. Why? Because U.S. funds it. You know what I'm saying? U.S. funds these crazy groups, these crazy jihad groups, all different sides. If you look at the management of savagery, Max Blumenthal, Mark Sloboda came on the show who talked about it. We're funding all sides. We don't care if who wins the war, who loses the war. All the military industrial cares about is having a war. And we fund fanaticals for a long, long time. And that should be never forgotten. And the fact that Tulsi did push for the FBI to release all the documents about Saudi Arabia, it's still not good enough. I want what Cynthia McKinney wanted, an independent investigation to find out what U.S. involvement is. Okay, what did we have to do with it? Joe Biden, when he was meeting with people in Pakistan, high-level officials, never had to answer for it. Building 7, which we, never had to answer for it. And once again, I'm not saying what is what, but we need an independent investigation, and that's the most important thing. The fact that she didn't point out that a lot of these actions, these Islamist ideologies that she's talking about, who hate us for our freedom kind of shit, which is a George Bush line, and never points out the U.S., is a very, very bad mistake, fam.
Right,
So.
because and you said like again, it seems like she's pandering to the right, and I understand that the left has been extremely unfair to her and extremely vicious. And this is why I always say, like, the left, or the quote-unquote what is left in America, majorly is pushing people away towards the right. And then you have people that are like, it's going to be, confirmation bias, pretty much, because she's pretty much pushing people to she's pretty much proving people right. Like, oh, yeah, like, she's using this language to placate to the right, and that's something like, as a supporter that you always defended her, and I've always defended her good points as well. It's kind of like, okay, well, you're pandering. I don't see what else it could be. It's pandering, and I disagree with the tweet.
It was red meat for the conservatives.
Period. Yeah.
Red meat for the conservatives.
Yeah.
Red meat for the fucking conservatives, that comment. And I didn't like it at all. You have to be specific. I'm sorry. And then the whole silence on the Gaza thing, you don't have that luxury, Congresswoman. You're a leader. You can't just go away and fall quietly back into the night and not make comments and say stuff when you're the anti-imperialist, supposedly, candidate, right? Supposedly, you're supposed to be that and stuff. And this vague comment to me really was upsetting. And I don't want to hear anything from people who are sending me the definition of an Islamist ideology and stuff like that. Come on. You know that is a vague comment that can be interpreted wrong by a lot of people in the United States. And a lot of people would argue, like I said, if you had Farrakhan here arguing with Tulsi, they would probably disagree with what the definition of an Islamist ideology is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They probably agree on some stuff, but that's the point. And, once again, you always, and that was the thing why we love Tulsi. She's like, let's end these regime change wars. It was about our action, the empire's action. Okay? And we don't know how these jihads or these freedom fighters, which means just holy war, how awful they are and stuff, and if they would even exist if it wasn't for American intervention bombing all over the place. And that can never be forgotten, especially on 9/11, because that's what all the End the Damn Wars March was about. It was about ending our occupation. Pull back, close the bases, come fucking home. Stop creating jihads. We're creating them. We're the problem. So you can't talk about anything else unless you talk about the main problem first, and that is empire in America. Correct or wrong? Am I wrong?
100%.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Sorry, Congresswoman, but I don't like this comment. This was bad.
Yeah.
This was bad.
100%. And her supporters shouldn't be sycophants. You can be a sycophant to any politician, and it's time to, hold ourselves accountable. Like, if a politician that you like said something wrong, you have to call them out. Like, and at this point, I'm really done with all of them. I'm just so like, that's it. We're on our own. We really are. I mean, and Cynthia McKinney said it herself. Like, do we have any friends in DC? I mean, Tulsi's even gone. She's not even part of Congress anymore. So we don't even have anybody remotely like with a fucking soul. Pretty much, like, everybody else has sold their soul to the establishment. Yeah. Pretty much.
Hashtag I've been blocked by Sue Weisner. I want to also point something out, because I had a couple Bernie sycophants come at me for this whole situation. We told you Bernie was the best. Like, no. So this was my response tweet. Make no mistake about it. Despite my anger with Tulsi's tweet, she was still by far the best Democratic candidate in the primaries. The tweet doesn't change the fact. Okay? Sorry to disappoint the Bernie stands out there. And I talked about it. I would still choose Tulsi over Bernie any day of the week. Bernie voted for the AUMF. So don't sit here and come at me and act like Bernie doesn't have any blood on his hands. So, like I said, despite this comment, I'm not trying to make a game out of it here. But, you know what I'm saying? Anti-imperialism is anti-imperialism. You're going to get on the fucking boat or get off it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And Tulsi played this game. Bernie was the compromise. Yeah. And don't get me wrong. And when I got involved with this whole situation, I thought Tulsi would be the ally that would push Bernie over the finish line. That was the point. But they were still compromises. And Bernie has been long gone, sold out to the establishment. Tulsi, I don't know what she's doing over here. She just threw red meat to the conservatives. And there's also the fact that we didn't put in there, and a lot of people have to say too as well, is that she's a soldier. She's a soldier that was on the front line, and she's fought against this, you know. So I understand that.
I get it.
But I still don't get. It still doesn't allow you to do this. I'm still not okay.
You can be a soldier, a veteran, and be extremely anti-war. I've seen it. I've seen it from a lot of people. You cannot leave out the United States when you talk about 9/11. You can talk about the Wahhabism, the jihads, all of that, but you must talk about how the United States fueled all of it.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
Since the break of dawn, we don't give a shit. We've been funding dictators all around the world and coups that will just give us our corporate ways, let us come in there, resource extraction. We are the main, influence of jihadism around the world, of Islamic extremism. And that is something that has to be pointed out. I know you guys are upset. Oh, okay. So Rocky came in here. Rocky, what's up, buddy? Rocky Bellinger says Islamist. Noun and noun and advocate or supporter of Islamic militancy or fundamentalism. Radical Islamist. Objective relating to advocating or supporting Islamic militancy or fundamentalism. Hardline Islamist group. That's one definition, Rocky, and I get it. And I'm not going to even try to deny that, but you'll find other definitions, and it doesn't make a difference. Americans don't understand the difference between...
They don't.
They don't.
They don't.
And you're a leader, right? Tulsi's a leader. She needs to be very, very specific. You put the word extremism there, whatnot, and once again, Rocky, this definition would be argued by other people, right? They would say that, no, that's not true. And you want to talk about Christian fundamentalism? I mean, we had the fucking Renaissance, right? And you could say this about any type of religion. So you just got to be specific. You know what I'm saying?
And also, again, Rocky, the fact that she didn't say anything about the United States involvement. I mean, I understand she's a soldier, but you can be a soldier and still be, like, an anti-imperialist. I mean, at this point, there's a lot of veterans who are anti-imperialist. Oh, no?
Yeah, go ahead.
Islamic denotes somebody as mandated by Islam. The word Muslim denotes an individual who happens to be Muslim. Yeah. Okay. Emblem fate. Still can't denote too much also. I'm a little confused with Tulsi taking a dig at people like the Nation of Islam and Farrakhan. I hope that's not true. The Nation and Minister have done a lot for Black America. Later, guys. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think, like, again, like, there's so many different definitions, like Pasta said. Like, it's just, you have to be specific as to what you're talking about, especially when you haven't said anything about what happened to Gaza, what's happening right now in Gaza, which is what I'm going to talk about. Yeah, nothing on that. I mean, I understand you can be like, oh, I want a 2-state solution, and still speak out against what happened in Gaza, and she didn't.
Right.
So I'm not gonna okay that, because now it's like multiple things. Now it's not just one thing. Now it's like you're building upon this. You're not really pushing back against the criticisms of that are valid at this point. Like, oh, you obviously have some sort of issue with the religion, and I understand it, but Islam itself as a religion was never meant to be what some radicals took it as. Just the same as Christian fundamentalists are one sect of Christianity. Like, that's you can't say that's all Christians, because I know plenty of Christians who are nice people who would never do some of the shit that these Christian fundamentalists do. You can't equate, when you generalize like that, you put it on a whole group of people, and it's a very dangerous route to go in. Yeah.
Muhammad Ali used to say, Islam means peace. Islam means peace. We all know what, Malcolm X coming back from Mecca, what I'm saying? The peace, that's what it means. And, I still have to agree with you 100%, fam, that any conversation that is void of United States involvement is just no conversation I want to be involved with. We've been fueling this stuff for so long, and I know we fueled a lot of fucking crazy jihadists that have, fundamentalists that have gone and they're doing awful things against Hindus and Christians and whatnot. I mean, Jesus, look what the Taliban did when they got control and they pushed out all the Buddhists and stuff, and they killed those statues, and what I'm saying, and nobody's denying that, but it's always American involvement, and that's something we can't be void of. Aram says, on behalf of what's his name, who gave until he could give no more.
Aw. Thank you.
I wholly agree with what's his name in his support for the Convo Couch, champions of independent journalism. And that was Aram twice, and then we have Precursor. What's that?
So thank you, Aram.
Yeah, Aram. Building 7 didn't kill himself. We've been seeing a lot of that comment lately. That's a great one. Guys, thank you so much. We got almost 100 people over here. Let's get them over here. ROKFIN. So that's that. Fam.
All right.
You ready to get to the meat and potatoes, the fun part?
Yeah.
Johnny went cray-cray. We went cray-cray. We had a good time.
Oh, shit.
We went nuts, guys. So, tomorrow we have a recall vote. What you
the
gonna do?
right-wing recall of all...
What you gonna do?
The right-wing recall.
You're gonna vote out the impending fascism, fam? And say no to the recall?
You don't vote out... First of all, you don't vote out fascism, you dolts. You said that when it was Trump, and like multiple times now, multiple elections. We need you to vote out fascism. You don't vote out fascism. Do you think these people are going to let you vote out fascism? Jesus Christ.
So, we've come up with the top 10 reasons to vote yes on the recall. We figured we'd give you some help because no matter what, at the end of the day, the establishment needs to be fired. I don't care if you write in a ham sandwich. I'm not picking a candidate. I am just definitely picking yes on the recall because Gavin Newsom has been awful across the board. And not only that, he's been put there for certain reasons. He's a political elite. So let's go over the reasons on why you should vote yes on the recall. I probably should have went 10-1, but we'll start off with number one. Number one. Johnny, you ready? Yeah. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gavin is Nancy Pelosi's nephew. Yuck. Only by marriage, but still. Enough with the political dynasty that has failed us time and time again. And there it is. He's Nancy Pelosi's nephew and part of the establishment. The Green Dream or whatever they call it. Nobody knows what it is. And I went to the Sun for this, and they're not related by blood, but they are related by
family ties.
Family ties and stuff like that. So I said California Governor Gavin Newsom is not related to House Speaker Nancy by blood, but rather by family ties. Newsom's parents, William and Tessa, were prominent in San Francisco as William worked as a judge in California. William's sister, Belinda Barbara Newsom, married Ron V. Pelosi in 1956 and established the tie between the families. Pelosi has a brother named Paul, who is married to Nancy D'Alessandro, who then became Nancy Pelosi. So there it is, fam. It's a political dynasty. Yeah. I mean, how long are we going to hand on to these political dynasties? Why are these people in California so keen on keeping Gavin Newsom?
Yeah, and I just want to say regarding that, I got a lot of progressives who are like, they're not really related. I consider my uncles and aunts who are married to my uncles and aunts to be my family. Whether blood ties or not, like, they're your family. You see them all the time. You can count on them for certain things, they're your fucking family. So just because it's not by blood doesn't mean it's not important. It's actually even worse because nefariously, you can tell this is planned. This is, again, you think you escaped the monarchy, America. It's the same thing. You have political dynasties. You have the Bushes, the Obamas, the Clintons, and these idiots. And a lot of these people, pretty much run California, which is the 5th largest economy. I mean, these people have got to go. Break up the dynasties. Break up these, neo-feudal monarchies that are existing in this day and age.
Yep. Number two. Or did you have something to say about number one, Johnny?
Just funny seeing all these progressives, Sunrise Movement or whatever, all these, DSA and everybody being pro keeping Newsom in there when, he hasn't done anything. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it for the environment.
So Gavin's number two is Gavin's whole political career has been supported by oligarchs that made their fortunes in oil and real estate, fam.
But the homeless and the environment, Larry Elder's just going to do away with everything.
Look at the guy with the suitcase of the money over there that Johnny put in it with the hat near the oil rig.
He looks like an Italian mobster.
He looks Italian.
He is. And if you wonder why we went and did Jerry Brown's Last Chance, the fact that he looked like, he was the clean environmental governor, you know what I'm saying? He was the green governor, but he kept on issuing gas permits left and right. Same thing with Gavin Newsom. Why? Because he's tied to them. He's been tied to them for a long time. And I even took an article from LA Times, which is even going to downplay some of his involvement because they'll talk about some of the money that he's made, but that doesn't talk about the money he was given for his wedding and all the inside stuff and the little cars and the kickbacks and the suits and all this other shit. So it says a Times review of campaign finance records identified 8 of San Francisco's best-known families as being among Newsom's most loyal and long-term contributors. Among those patrons are the Gettys, the Pritzkers, and the Fishers, whose family made their prospective fortunes in oil, hotels, and in fashion. They first backed him when he was a restaurateur and winery owner running for a seat on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors in 1998, and have continued their support through the governor's race. They are not Newsom's largest donors because Newsom also gets money from other places. Families in totals have given him about $2 million of the $61 million that donors have contributed to his campaign and independent committees backing those bids, but they gave while he was relatively unknown, providing crucial support to a political newcomer in the years before his campaign accounts piled high with cash from labor unions, Hollywood honchos, tech billionaires, and donors up and down the state. Fam.
Yeah, by the way, labor unions in here, especially in Los Angeles, a lot of them, unfortunately, entirely co-opted, entirely corrupt, entirely pro-Democratic Party establishment. That is how we got a lot of people that are currently heading the Democratic Party. Like, what's his name? Who's the current chair? He was
Gonzalez or?
No, of the California Democratic Party, not the LA.
Oh, you're talking about the guy who I'd rather watch grass grow. Rusty Hicks.
Rusty Hicks. He got huge support from labor.
Yes. And
that's how they do it. They co-opt labor. So labor isn't even like real, like the labor you think about back in the day when you were, Eugene Debs. That is gone. Just so you guys know. So when they're like, union support Newsom, it's that fucking establishment corporate type of union.
Yep. And like, once again, this is money just from, where you see campaign finance. This is not talking about the kickbacks he's got. There were reports that the Gettys gave about $250,000 for his first wedding with the girl, what's her name, Kim Gaffoli, the one who's a Republican now. I think she's part of the NRA and she's on Fox News or something. She was the one at the Republican National Convention. Come back, and she was being all excited by herself. It's like, wow, that was his first wife. Now he's married to a Hollywood mogul. And there's been talks about kickbacks and money, that are not reported, that you don't know about. So that's just that. Not to mention the insider trading and stuff, and the tech billionaires that give him money to make sure that everything's A-okay. Number 3, Gavin misled the public on the number of acres treated with fuel breaks as well as prescribed burns that would have helped prevented some of the forest fires, the craziest season we see right now. He also simultaneously divested in these wildfire prevention measures, fam. So he was telling the people one thing, but he was doing another. Here is an investigation from Cap Radio and NPR's California. Newsom's found the governor has misrepresented his accomplishments and even disinvested in wildfire prevention. The investigation found that Newsom overstated by an astounding 690% the number of acres treated with fuel breaks and prescribed burns, and the very forestry project he said he needed to prioritize to protect the state's most vulnerable communities. Newsom has claimed that 35 priority projects carried out as a result of his executive order resulted in fire prevention work on 90,000 acres, but the state's own data show the actual number is 11,399. So in other words, he said he was going to take care of these acres. Remember Donald Trump, the donkey? They're not taking care of their forests. They're not raking it. They're not making, what I'm saying? Like, he was saying all this shit, but and I looked into it. It's true. They have like actual places they burn so it doesn't get caught on fire and act as a match. And that's something that they need to do. So somebody looked into all the data to make sure all this work was done. They said they were going to take care of 90,000 acres. They found less than 12,000 acres that were actually taken care of.
And not to mention the infamous picture of him and Kamala Harris in a photo shoot as fires were raging. Like, oh, look, we're just going to go assess the damage here and take a nice little photo shoot with the Timberlands boots that she had. I mean, they didn't do shit. In fact, they've exacerbated it, as Pasta just said.
Yeah, and he got caught because they looked at the data and they're like, whoa, we got less than 12,000 acres you took care of over here. You said you took care of close to 100,000 acres. Your executive order, what happened? Well, we got a situation in California, fam, and it happens all the time where they say they're going to allot money for certain things. They never do the work, and phony bullshit contractors pocket the money. Gavin Newsom's always been a part of that clan, just like the Clintons did in the Haiti. He did a lot in California. This is something that Maria Estrada pointed out in her own district that Anthony Wren had done. She's like, where's the money for this stuff? That's something that's common. So when you hear all these people go, oh, we just got Gavin Newsom and stuff to make sure that he puts all this money for these situations, you got to follow through and make sure the money hits its point. No bid contracts are a thing in California. Who are those no bid contracts going to? That's why more of the people have to be involved in the decisions that are made when it comes to spending the money, because you got corrupt politicians like Gavin Newsom who lie to you and tell you he was taking care of those forests to make sure that they wouldn't burn like crazy. We now have the second largest forest fire situation in California in history, fam. Second. And a lot of it could have been prevented had they done this work. And they got busted and called out on it. This is why one of the reasons why he should be recalled alone. Number 4. And this is my number 1 reason. And, I made a little video last night. Johnny helped me out, plug a little music into it. All I did was drive around town. Gavin did nothing, fam. Nothing to slow down the homeless crisis in California. In fact, he made it worse. We now have over 150,000 homeless. And that's a low count. And that is 20% of the homelessness in U.S. right now. And I put up this little world population review where you guys can go check it out. If you just click on any state, it will tell you what the homeless number is. Look what you click on right there. 151,000. And those are low numbers right there. What's it in Texas? Click on Texas real quick. Texas has got 25,000.
Yeah, I mean, but
Florida's got 28,000.
Yeah, but with that, you also have to note that the Republicans there do push the homeless out of the state with spikes on the benches. They make it illegal for people to be there. They really do push them out to more liberal states. That's also part of it. But let's not forget that this has been a democratically led state forever. Yeah. And if they really wanted to fix it, they would have done something. A lot of that money in the years that I've been here has not been allotted properly to that crisis. Gavin Newsom is funded by real estate developers as well. He's not going to do shit about this at all. I mean, he's got, Hollywood, he's got all these people that depend on developers and investors. He's not going to fucking do shit about it. He hasn't done shit. So don't bring me in, Larry Elder's going to get rid of the minimum wage. Like, no, first of all, you're assuming Larry Elder's going to win.
But he got money for Project Key.
And yeah, for Project Room Key. These people don't want to be in a cell, okay? Nothing has been done the way it should have been for homelessness, right? California it's a large city. It's going to have more homeless in other parts of the country. However, the way they've handled it has been an absolute disaster.
Yeah. One of the reasons for the homelessness that you see there is bad workforce, right? Like, we don't have a great workforce. We have to be clever. We have to find a way. And Project Routine was also a short-term solution. Mm-hmm. When you're overpaying these hotel rooms, they made a lot of money in hotels, this family, right? So they know these hotel owners. Yeah. So now they give these people, okay, we're going to give you $150 per night in a shit hotel that they normally would get $75 a night. They double up the cost, and the state gives them that money, and then they do these stupid programs where they don't give these people their freedoms, knowing that they're going to push them out. And then a lot of conservatives go, well, they had an opportunity to do something. They didn't freaking handle it. No, we haven't presented a good solution for this situation. And the real estate lobby, right? Also, too, as well. There's a profit modem off of homelessness. And that's something that Gavin hasn't done anything about. I made a little video yesterday. It's on my Twitter, guys. All we did, me and Glory Jones, we drove around one part of downtown L.A. for 10 minutes. And it's just homelessness here, homelessness there. In Pasadena, I noticed new homeless people running around. This is the thing that pisses me off the most. It's sad. You want to throw it on real quick? One of the saddest things about California, despite it being super majority Democrat, is that it has the largest homeless population in America. Over 150,000 homeless in California, and that's by low standards. And Gavin Newsom hasn't done anything to help the situation, and there's many things he could have done. Number one, he could have took money and allocated directly to the homeless, got people off the streets. He chose not to. He could have denied big real estate money and not worked for the oligarchs that have always made sure that he stayed in power. And now the situation is worse.
So why would we do this? Why would we allow a man who has failed miserably at his job to continue to stay in power? I mean, all you have to do is head to the streets. Get in your car, go out there, drive around LA, drive around downtown. The homeless number is just growing every single day. Did Gavin Newsom call for a state of emergency? Did he directly do everything in his power to make sure these people can get off the streets? No. So why, I ask, why would you let this man stay in power? Like I said, all you have to do is get in your car and drive out into the streets of LA and see the problem for what it is. I say it's time to fire Gavin Newsom.
Ay. Fam, you know what it's like. You drive around here, every single bridge. Every I mean, look, guys, we just did this for 10 minutes the other day, just driving around downtown LA. It's disgusting.
It's an epidemic. That's an epidemic. We should 100% be worried about that. That it's an epidemic, and they're not doing anything to fix it. They know that at this point, it's almost impossible to fix.
And also, too, I don't want to put that all on Gavin Newsom. Also, there's been a lot of other establishment cuck Democrats that have led to this shit, too, as well. You know what I'm saying? That have allowed this situation to pile up and pile up and pile up and pile up. And now, look at it now. Just look at it. We're a super Democratic majority here, and we can't fix this problem.
Yeah.
Why would you give any of these establishment Democrats a chance to continue to stay in office? If you can throw them out on their ass and send a message, why wouldn't you do it? I mean, what would happen, fam, if voting did matter and voting was fair and we could vote out Gavin Newsom, what would happen then?
They would have to switch their ways to do something for the people. But because you always vote and protect them even when they fail you or when they screw you, then they're never going to do that. So, I mean, I just can't. Like, I don't understand, like, there's no logic behind this. It's literally team sports mentality, partisan politics. And fuck PSL, fuck DSA, and all these progressives shilling for Gavin Newsom, knowing he did absolutely nothing but make things worse just because you're afraid of the Republican boogeyman yet again. 6 years after, we've done this over and over again. I am so done with all of you.
Number 5. Gavin is part of the establishment, and the cucks have all come out for him. Bernie, AOC, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. And the only thing I got to say to this, look at Johnny, that's a great. No thank you, hard pass. Look at, yeah, there's the laugh. Look at him with the cup of coffee. There's Green Bombs. There's Zombie Joe. How do you guys continue to vote for these people? How do you guys continue to support these people? It's so crazy to see you supporting all the other bullshit out there, but this, how do you support these people? They've done nothing for you. At what point are you going to push back and say, you know what? Fuck you. I'm not voting for you. You're giving us nothing, whatnot. How long until the scare tactic of, but if a Republican gets it, it's just awful. No.
I honestly don't think they're going to do it until it's too late. Like, I don't know.
When it's raining down on us, it's like, maybe we should get him out of there and stuff. You've gotten the best Gavin pictures, dude. You made him look like
he looks like a villain.
Look at this one. Number 6. Gavin is for vaccine mandates. And that's something that's disgusting. He advertises on his Twitter. Yep. There was also this report. It was kind of a lot of people, and I don't want to, once again, I want to be understanding when I say this. He gave $1 billion, close to $1 billion, to this Chinese company to produce masks. Now, aside from the fascism of the vaccine mandates, why didn't we use that money to get people off the streets first? That's right. I mean, that's my question. I know a lot of people are going, see, the Democrats are in bed with the Chinese. That's not what I'm trying to fucking say.
Right.
What I'm trying to say is that we didn't prioritize first and get people off the streets. And secondly, are you telling me that we can't find a fucking place in the United States that can manufacture masks for us? I mean, wouldn't that have been a great opportunity instead of sending $900 million over to Chinese to say, let's open up some factories here in California. Let's get some of these homeless people jobs,
so
make it
Yeah.
fast.
Give them jobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have no jobs for them. I just found the fucking job.
They're part of the community helping, with that whole thing.
No,
right?
it's real estate developers, investors. That's what it is about. I
Well,
mean, it's a business deal.
But fams, it wasn't safe for homeless people to do this job, to make masks for Americans or Californians. What fucking condition could be more unsafe than being on the street without proper fucking...
I'm trying to stop a pandemic, but we're not going to help the unhoused, right?
Yeah, and a lot of people were on both sides of the aisle. They tried to be really quiet about this deal. They didn't answer a lot of questions. There was actually some leaked emails they got a hold of. It was really a secretive deal. You know what I'm saying? And once again, I can't stand. You got a lot of Republicans, the patriots of sorts, going, "See, I told you he was bought by the Chinese." That's not the fucking point.
The point is that money should have been allocated to
Elsewhere.
a million other things that could have been allocated to
Elsewhere. And once again, if in fact you're going to do that, why wouldn't you take all those homeless people and give them a job making masks? Cause and effect, fam. Cause and effect. Number 7.
Maybe somebody he knows is invested in that company.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what
It's just fucking dumb.
It happened with the PPP loans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, the money went to fucking the Lakers and fucking hotel chains and shit. So fucking Stanford University got it. Like, okay, they need it. Now here's a big one. And this is really deep. Gavin failed to expedite unemployment money, to California residents in a timely manner, despite being rewarded $9 billion from the federal government. Guess what? That money is still sitting in a bank vault in D.C. while California citizens are about to be homeless, and Gavin Newsom has been fucking silent on this. He won't call out the Democratic leaders, his little fucking cucks up there, okay? This money is sitting there. And how is the EDD fucking working right now? It's awful. You know what I'm saying? You still can't get them on the phone. And they talked about this. Those personal issues, along with other problems with technology like aging computers and mainframes, could be solved in part with the money EDD is supposed to get from the federal government. That help was supposed to arrive along with the stimulus checks paid out by the Biden administration in form of money to help fix problems with the country's unemployment departments. $9 billion. It's been months since the bill passed. None of it has been paid out. Okay?
None of it.
None.
And then there's a certain percentage that has been paid out.
Well, you got this one. I believe he's an assemblyman, or he's a, what is he? Let me make sure I know what he is. I know he's part of the. All right, he's California 10, right, in Congress.
Mm-hmm.
It says the fact that EDD answered fewer calls in May than they did in March is just absurd. The entire system is broken, and Valley families can't pay their bills because of it.
And that was in June of this year. Yeah.
And that's the truth. Every month, they answered less calls.
Yeah.
Harder was already frustrated with California's EDD. Now he's angry with the Department of U.S. Labor. That money is still sitting in a bank vault at the Department of Labor, and they haven't given us any timetable of when it's going to actually get out the door, Harder said. That's unacceptable because there needs to be a sense of urgency around solving these problems, and I'm not seeing that. Even if you can do finger pointing towards the federal governments, this debacle continues to happen on Newsom's watch and remains unresolved on his watch, and Gavin doesn't even bother to address it. You should be on TV every day. Why hasn't the government sent me my fucking money? Californians need help here. We have people on the streets. We have people who are going to be thrown out on their ass. Send us that fucking money, Joe Biden. You're friends with Kamala. Make a fucking phone call and get that money here. But no.
Protect Gavin Newsom.
He's relative with the fucking Speaker of the House.
And we don't have our fucking money?
Jesus
Oh, God.
Christ.
This is a good one, guys. I know you're going to like this one. Gavin is anti-press. He vetoed SB 629, which would have protected journalists from being harassed by the police when covering protests. How is this not fucking fascism?
I'm sorry, the pictures are cracking me up. The hearts between him and VN.
He fucking vetoed it, guys.
He vetoed
He
it.
literally fucking vetoed it.
Because they're in bed with each other. They don't want the fascist tactics by the police to be recorded because the police protect them.
But we gotta vote for the lesser two evils.
Yeah. How is this not fascism?
But we gotta vote for the lesser of two evils.
Now all those people who show up at the Black Lives Matter protest protecting this fucking asshole.
You're protecting fucking Villanueva.
Yes.
Sheriff Villanueva and all the cops who literally go after protesters and journalists. So all cops are bastards unless a Democrat says something about it. Then it's cool.
If somebody's out there filming for your protection and a cop hits you over the head and an independent journalist went and caught it, right? Wouldn't that be helpful? Wouldn't that keep the cops in line? The press is supposed to keep the security state in line. And then the more press they see out there, the more cameras, the less likely they'll do something because they know there can be some form of accountability.
Which is what happened with Josie Wang.
Exactly.
Which is why she made this tweet, which says that Gavin Newsom just vetoed a bill passed by legislators to protect reporters who cover protests. It would have barred law enforcement from, quote, intentionally assaulting, interfering with, or obstructing these duly authorized representatives. SB 629.
And that was in 2020.
And that was in September 30th.
Yep.
Almost a year ago.
Yep. Johnny, if you want, I did put the link there to the California legislation. If you look down number 3, vetoed by the governor. Right there. Right there. He vetoed it. He vetoed it.
He's going to stop fascism, though.
Media access. Yeah, he's going to stop fascism.
Yeah. Impending fascism right here.
But just because he sucks doesn't mean we should vote in another. No one's saying to go vote for fucking Larry Elder. Fucking.
Well, some people are saying that, but not
us.
a lot of us.
I wonder how Larry Elder would have felt about that thing right there. Put him on the spot. Ask him if anybody gets a chance. Let's see. Does he believe in a free press? That's the thing.
He'll probably say yeah, but then he would probably do the same thing.
Maybe.
I think Elder's part of the establishment too.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He's definitely part of that whole fucking patriot crowd of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm a news guy.
He's a puppet. He's a puppet. I'm telling you, he's a puppet. He's not anybody. He's no revolutionary or anything.
I wouldn't vote for him. No way. That's just me, though. Do what you want to do. Like I said, I'm going to write in a ham sandwich. I might write in Johnny's Dolphin or ham sandwich or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of people. There's a couple people I'm thinking about voting. I don't know. But I'm definitely voting yes on the fucking recall. Number 9, Gavin's an elitist who doesn't follow his own rules. We all remember his rules for thee, but not me, right? Right after making his speech, the moment in the Napa restaurant. Oh, there he is, telling people that they shouldn't gather. They have to be outside, no more than 6 people. And then later on that night, he's caught in a fucking room, right? In a room with over fucking about 12 people in the room in Napa Valley. As we reported Friday, California Governor Gavin Newsom broke his own coronavirus rules by dining with a large group of people consisting of members of more than 3 households. While he apologized and attempted to justify his behavior by saying it was an outdoors party, new information has surfaced. Fox Los Angeles reporter Bill Melaguin obtained photos from a woman who was dining at the French Laundry restaurant in Napa, California on November 6th.
Fuck this guy, by the way.
What's that?
Fuck Bill.
Yes. The same evening, Newsom attended his 50th birthday party for his longtime friend and well-known lobbyist, Jason Kinney. The woman asked not to be identified, told Melaguin. Malugan, whatever the fucking.
He's not Latino.
He's not French.
Not Melaguin?
He's some white guy.
Well, you got the pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
There is a video. We don't necessarily have to play it, but everybody knows.
Yeah, we've seen
Everybody knows about this shit. The guy literally gave a fucking speech telling people not to fucking, gather in big groups and whatnot. And then later on is out at Napa Valley eating. There he is. I mean, it's just fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
There it is. Literally. Are they wearing masks? Are they close? I can see a woman going in there like, so you want some coronavirus here?
That's the bourgeoisie. Telling you can't do what I do.
Exactly.
But fascism.
And number 10, Johnny, I'm going to let you take this one over here since you pulled this out.
Because this is a pretty big one. Because according to the Constitution of California, according to Article 2, Section 18 of the California Constitution, if the recall fails, Gavin shall be reimbursed reimbursed
Wow.
by the state for the officer's recall election expenses legally and personally occurred. And I'm going to show you guys the Constitution here. So what was it? It was Article 2, Section 18.
Mm-hmm.
So we come down here to Section 18. Blah, 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 blah. The Constitution of California says that a state officer who is not recalled shall be reimbursed by the state for the officer's recall election expenses legally and personally incurred. Another recall may not be initiated against the officer until 6 months after the election. So there you go.
Maybe he did it on purpose, Johnny,
So
to raise money.
basically, he's gonna earn he's gonna gain money when fucking the people of California need fucking money to fucking
Yep, he's gonna
get the shit
rich.
done. We already covered over $10 billion of fucking wasted money that he did, right? The masks plus the what was the $1 billion? I forgot.
The $1 billion was the mask.
The $9 billion.
That was a $900 million.
Anyways, no, $9 billion in unemployment.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes. My bad. He's been a total disaster. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's other things. You know, at first when I was starting this thing, I was like, I don't even know if I can come up with 10 reasons. Then I had like 14 reasons and I had to shave off 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, the guy's been just terrible when it comes to the forest fighters and the environment. He's got big oil lobbyist money behind him. You know what I'm saying? He's got big Hollywood behind him. All these executive fucking families, these elitist families. You know what I'm saying? It's like they just keep on going in. It's like your turn, my turn, whatnot. Don't tell me that elections are fair. Don't tell me that elections are fair. How do these cucks still get in? And how can you fucking progressives stand here and say that you should put this man back in office? I mean, how stupid can you be at this point?
Dumb.
And the Santa Clara County Republican Party fam, 5 reasons to recall Gavin Newsom, just to take a look at these things. It's kind of interesting because I was like, I wonder what the Republicans, everybody says this is a Republican thing. So it says rules for you, not for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about that. Okay, we're there too as well. We kind of look at that as like, oh, he's an elitist. No leadership, no solutions. Gavin Newsom said homelessness was going to be his top priority. They even see, you know what I'm saying? 150,000 homeless. I mean, they're right there. Lies and deception. This is something we didn't put in there. The school lockdowns, whatnot. Fraud and incompetence. We talked about the unemployment situation. He's also, I mean, that was the thing. There was supposedly some people got benefits and paid outs with the PPP and unemployment that shouldn't have got it, and they're looking towards him. And 5, unequal treatment of small businesses from big businesses. We didn't talk about this one. Under extreme lockdowns, more than 19,000 California businesses have closed, and millions of Californians lost their job, leaving California with one of the highest unemployment rates in the nation. Small businesses got fucking crushed under Gavin Newsom. And if you're going to close down the place, you're going to lock the fucking place down, you better have solutions for these small businesses. That's what Republicans are always small businesses. But can you argue with them here? How many small businesses did we see crying, going, we didn't get the PPP loan. We're waiting right now. My landlord's over my head. I'm going to close my doors. I don't know what the fuck to do.
And that ruins a lot of working class people, marginalized communities, etc. And by the way, the small businesses are the ones you want to kind of work for, because you don't want to work for a corporation, because when you are a server, a bartender, a retailer for a corporation, you're just a number. You're replaceable. But when it's a small business, you kind of have more of you know your boss, you talk to them. There's better treatment. You're less of a number. So the eradication of small businesses is literally ruining people's lives. It's causing so much stress on people. And as somebody that has worked in that industry, I just think it's a complete disaster the way he handled it, the way Democrats never mention small businesses or differentiate really between those and corporations, and all the giant corporations who got so much money that public outrage forced them to return some of it, because some of the smaller businesses didn't get any of it.
Yep. A lot of small businesses didn't get any of it. Some did eventually, and thank God it came, because it saved a lot of small businesses, but there were a lot of small businesses equally that didn't get it and have closed their doors. Something else I want to point out too as well, we point out the fugaziness of elections on a regular basis. Obviously, we don't, I think, my personal opinion, I bet you're probably there too, is that they're not going to let Gavin lose anyways.
No.
You know what I'm saying? But there's something I want to encourage. I want you to encourage to do what Fee says, take direct action,
God.
and I want to encourage you to continue to vote. Because if we do, by some God's grace, get it fixed, we want to have the practice of continuing to vote and getting our news out there, our information out there anyways. However, we're already seeing fugaziness happen, and this is what we're saying. Cynthia McKinney hit it on the nose, right? For me, my number one thing, and this is something that Garland Favorito in Voter GA California has now implemented into their words, right, into their language, is we're going to eliminate proprietary software, and that's an important thing. However, the thing that Cynthia McKinney said was so important because Johnny can tell you, when he looked to get involved with the ballot committee, Johnny, I want you to tell us what happened, that it's also done in closed doors by establishment candidates and the public is not invited, right, to see a lot of these things. In fact, I think Johnny said that they're not even allowed you to bring cameras into the room starting coming up, whatnot. So they're trying to push out the public even more from getting involved. We need the public to take full control of these elections.
Right.
No more independent contracting groups, no more outside sources that are just getting hired for part-time work. It needs to be done for and by the people. So we got to continue to push to get our fucking noses in there to say, no, we want to be part of the ballot selections. In other words, how these ballots are made, who gets these contracts. We want to be informed and all involved in the chain of custody across the board. We want to be involved in the tabulation machine. We want to make sure we understand why there are holes in ballots for a special election that you can actually see how a person voted for, which is a big no-no. So we have to push our way in through the door to say we need to be involved, especially in California where they're pushing everybody out of the door. And even in fact, they've made it harder now. Alex Padilla, on his way out the door, to his way up to the Senate, he made it harder for people, citizens like ourselves, to request information on the voter poll booklets. Now they put that whole decision into the election board certified, whoever's at the head of the board, the election process, which will be the Secretary of State, and what was he? Alex Padilla, his position.
He was Secretary of State.
He was the Secretary of State,
Yeah.
and also, I think they'll kick it down to a lot of Dean Logans, like board supervisors, or all those positions.
Jeff Kleins.
Either way, they've made it harder for American citizens, for people in their states, to request information on these polls so they can see what's going on, and that is a huge problem. KTLA 5 saw something that's going on. This is going to be the problem when you have mass mail-out ballots. You're just looking.
But
for problems.
again, it's not voter fraud. It's
election fraud. Yeah.
Court and Rick, this is quite a story. Good question. What is going on? We spoke with several concerned voters here in the West San Fernando Valley who believe something wonky had been going on at places like El Camino Real Charter High School in Woodland Hills. This place opened up as an early polling location, open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, but several people tell us they showed up to vote this morning in the special California governor recall election and were told that computers showed they had already cast their ballots. So what? Staffers, they say, were apologetic and helpful, but those voters we talked to are extremely concerned, suspicious, and wanting answers. California native and current West Hills resident, 88-year-old Estelle Bender, spoke with us just a short time ago. What happened today and how shocked are you?
Very. I went to El Camino High School to vote, got there at 10:30, gave her this, and she scanned it and said, "You voted." And I said, "No, I haven't." And she said, "This has been happening all morning." The man next to me was arguing the same thing. So as I left, I did the provisional ballot, and left. I was just really angry, and I saw two women walking toward me as I left, and I said, "Don't be surprised if they tell you you've already voted." And she said, "They've already done that." If I voted, how did I vote?
And who did you vote for?
Well, I asked the couple, the young women that I talked to, and I said, "Are you by any chance Republicans?" She said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, so am I." And so are the two friends that had the problem at VFW. So.
Makes you suspicious.
I would think so. And still, I'd like to know how I voted.
Oh, fuck this. Oh, Pazzo, you see this? The voters who experience this issue were offered and provided a provisional ballot. The fail-safe option to ensure no one is turned away from voting.
Yeah, they don't count those guys.
The fail-safe option.
It's actually the fail option because that's how you know they're not going to count that.
Look what it says, though.
Provisional ballots are regular ballots.
No,
and once the eligibility of the voter is verified, they are processed and counted.
They're not regular ballots.
They're not regular ballots because the eligibility of the voter has to be verified.
Yeah.
And we've been in the room where they verify that, and it takes like extra steps to verify it.
Yeah, and a lot of times they don't. Most of the time, actually, they don't verify.
There's no way in that room for what we saw that they would count half the provisional ballots.
Not even half.
Not even close. So don't act like it's a ballot that is counted. It's not.
Guys.
It's got to be verified. And who is verifying it? Once again, we talk about that independent contractor. These people, right, Johnny? They get hired. Like they don't even. You could see there's no energy on their face. They don't fucking care. They're there for a check.
Yeah.
We want people who got invested fucking clout here, baby.
No, this is already a rigged election. 100%. It's already rigged. I mean, from the envelopes to this to the fact of who's in charge, it's already done. I mean, it's a done deal. It's all. I mean, I'm doing it for, the big, like, fuck you to everybody. I want to make it known that I'm voting for the recall. Yes, on the recall. That's why I'm doing it. I am under no illusion that this election is going to be fair. Yeah. I mean, you're seeing it right here. You go back and watch multiple videos. We've talked about provisional ballots since Bernie's fucking election. Like provisional ballots, guys. Nothing has changed. They're literally telling you that it's the same thing when it is not. And we have verified here that it is not the same thing.
And you stupid fucking progressive cucks. This is the same tactic they used on Bernie Sanders in 2016 and in 2020. You fucking idiots.
Yeah, and they're going to use it on your next favorite progressive next time they run. And
how dumb can they be? How dumb. You'll never get a grassroots candidate in fucking office.
Never.
A
real one, not one that doesn't capitulate.
Fucking working for the same people you used to fucking despise and hate. When it comes to the boop boop and when it comes to elections, you are lost. Whitney Webb was right. They are laughing how they divide us.
Yeah.
Laughing. And you guys are taking it. They're just saying right there, provisional ballots, guys. That's what they did to Bernie. They did this in 2020. You could see Matt Donovan was there that night where I almost got fucking arrested and thrown out of a goddamn place. I don't want to say he almost got arrested, but they were saying get out of the room. They were pissed at me and stuff because I was causing a fucking commotion. You go to East LA in the poor areas, all the machines are down, and they're telling the people, well, just fill out a provisional. It's the same thing. When that person earned the right to have a vote that was casted and counted immediately, and yet you're going to do this. Then you go over to La Cañada over there, right, and they're giving you tea and crumpets, and there's plenty of machines and whatnot. They force you into a provisional ballot because they don't want your vote to be counted.
And the last thing that I put in this section, Johnny, it's Bernie's tweet. Yeah. And because Bernie said 3 hours ago, right? He went out. He said 3 hours ago he went off, and he said, the
Should
attempted.
I do it in the voice?
Yeah, you say it, and then
The attempted recall of Gavin Newsom is a bold-faced GOP power grab. If we have any hope of addressing climate change, really, Bernie, guaranteeing health care to all, and passing real immigration reform, it cannot succeed. California, return your vote no in person by tomorrow.
Return your ballot or vote no in person.
What did I say? Return your ballot or vote no in person by tomorrow, September 14th.
Right. I went off on Bernie. I said, the GOP isn't the only one recalling Newsom. It's many working people, many of your own ex-supporters, far to your left, who fucking voted and donated to you even when they didn't have money. And you repay them by pushing establishment politicians. You're a disappointment and a fraud. And I don't think I've ever been, I don't think I've ever called Bernie a fraud until now.
Well, he's a fraud, fam. It sucks. It sucks.
There's that.
It sucks. By the way, there are 10 people watching over at Odyssey. That's awesome. Thank you guys who are watching at Odyssey. You got to see those silver-tongued snakes before they bite you. And then we have about 315 people watching over there. What up, Keen James? What up, Salt Lakers? What up, Gamer for Life, Jilly Love, the Drunken Gnat? We love you. The auspicious.
There's a gnat and a goat.
No, it was just a gnat. I said goat
Oh.
last time. I posted it. Frederick Murphy's there too as well. And we do have another super chat from Embletvate. Last one, and I'm out. Finally saw what some shitlib did to you on Twitter, Fee. Sorry. You guys, and did you guys see that person who dressed as a monkey to attack Elder? I don't care about the guy's policies. I only point this out to highlight liberals are every bit racist, fascist as those they claim to hate. Later, guys. I don't know if you saw that. It was a white girl with a monkey. She had a gorilla mask on, and she threw an egg at Larry and missed him.
Wow.
And then part of his staff got over there. I mean, and that was the thing where they were saying right-wing TV went nuts. They're like, look, there's a white girl with a gorilla mask throwing an egg at a black man. That's what they were saying like crazy, and I don't know what the fuck that person was thinking that wouldn't come back and bite them in the ass.
It's like the hypocrisy, though, that I get really pissed off at, right? Like where these liberals, these shitlibs, these neo-progressives tried to say, they call me a white girl, like in order to be able to criticize me.
Yes.
Right? Because they can't legitimately criticize me for something with logic and evidence and policy. But they have to pretty much discredit the person. And if they can't find something, what they do is they say, well, I'm going to be a racist asshole, but I'm going to make you not be a person of color because then that way I can just be a flat out racist. And they do this to Niko, Brianna Joy Gray, to Rome. I've seen that. And it's like this insidious type of racism that these liberals have where they it's funny because they wear this cloak of virtuosity all the time, say they're fighting for marginalized people. But the moment a marginalized person disagrees with them and they don't fall in line and do the, I'm going to be a tokenized minority, they fucking turn on them and become some of the most racist and vile people I have ever witnessed. Far more than a right-winger, and it's far worse because they pretend that they're on the right side. Like they morally believe that they're superior.
And they talk they talk to you as if you're talking out of line. Like, how dare you not get in line? You know what I'm saying? Like the ultimate.
That's
form
more of a
tokenization.
Plantation owner. That's more of a fucking slave master attitude.
It is.
And I'm having none of it anymore. Like, I'm so fucking done with them. And, speaking of that, none of these people are talking about what's happening right now. And this is one of the reasons why I was upset at Tulsi, was because she still hasn't said a word about what Israel continues to do to Gaza, to Palestinians in Gaza, right? And, of course, this is from yesterday. Breaking: Gaza under attack. Israeli airstrikes continue hitting Beit Lahiya north and Rafah south. Gaza's armed groups are currently shooting at the attacking aircrafts. So,
how do you shoot at that? I mean, like,
that's what I'm saying. So then they shoot at it, and then Israel's like, "Oh, we have to, respond." And that's the same game we've seen play out time and time again. And this is from Ahmed Shemeya. Pictures show the Israeli bombing in Gaza. Gaza under attack. #facts of Palestine. And you can see that. This is like a regular occurrence. I think it was the 5th day in a row that this was happening. And I mean, honestly, I hadn't heard anything from anybody until last night.
Because we're so desensitized to it now, right?
Yeah.
And the
it's
fact
like,
that the
okay,
mainstream media doesn't cover it at all. This is an open air prison over here. There's a embargo, there's a blockade, you can't leave, you can't get out.
They're limited water, they're limited electricity.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And highly condensed. So many people just living on top of each other, just ridiculous. And yet, nobody says anything, right? Nobody says a fucking word. You don't hear the mainstream media talk about this no matter what. Like, it's just justified that Israel keeps doing this, and nobody says a goddamn fucking word. It's disgusting. It is totally disgusting.
And I wanted to put this tweet out by Saeed Shuaib because he talks about the Israeli occupation warplanes attacking Gaza. But if you go down to the comments, there's somebody from the Good Shepherd Collective that said this morning Israeli soldiers delivered a demolition notice to the Malay School of the Jordan Valley, in the Jordan Valley. These are the kinds of daily incidences. It should be on the thing. It's right there. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you just
down a little
scroll
bit.
down a little bit, that
Right
one.
there.
Yeah. These are the kind of daily incidents that often fly under the radar in terms of international media, but have a huge impact on children and their communities. So, yeah. So you can see how a lot of this gets lost, right?
Why would they? How do they justify demolishing it? I mean, what's the justification? You're going into Gaza to demolish stuff? It's bad enough that you have that as an open air prison. You can't get any good water or anything in there. Now you're going to go in there and you're going to fucking demolish their school?
And if you look at mainstream media, fam, this is what mainstream media says. And Reuters, isn't even the worst of them. Middle East, Israel strikes Gaza in retaliation for rocket fire, military says. So according to the military, right, the military is always going to say, we're retaliating because of the rocket fires these people sent. So it's the same old story. Poor Israel has to retaliate because Palestinian rocket fire into his territory. And again, this tension has risen ever since, I don't know if you guys heard, but 6 Palestinian militants, prisoners, escaped from the maximum security Israeli jail on Monday. And then the Israeli forces went after and got 4 of them back. And so, according to Reuters, after the Israeli airstrikes, Gaza militants fired a rocket into Israel on Friday when 2 of the prisoners were apprehended, and then again Saturday after 2 more escaped inmates were caught. And the Israeli military said it was Hamas. There's no reports of casualties. So
they do this shit all the time.
Yeah. So it's always Hamas. It's
250 Palestinians but killed 13 Israelis. It's always that lopsided fucking number. And it's a shame.
It's a shame. It's disgusting. I didn't get a chance to see if there were any more updates as to what's happened thus far, but it's really shitty to see this happening, and the vast majority of politicians, of independent media, nobody cover this. We've become, like you said, so desensitized to it. And when you talk about 9/11 and you saw these tweets, I mean, I heard the radio just going off on 9/11, we will never forget, and blah, blah, blah. The same narrative that I heard when I was, a child, and they were talking about, it's 9/11. And I don't know if you saw that. Did we watch the video with the Disney Channel? I don't know if we did. There's a video with the Disney Channel where they were literally just inducing, I remember, like, imperialist rhetoric about 9/11. Like Lizzie McGuire and all these people on Disney Channel, like during that time they came out and were like, we need to come together as Americans and stand behind our country. It was so disgusting watching it now as an adult, and looking back and be like, I didn't even see anything wrong with that. I was like, oh, they're just, you just don't realize it. You're just stuck in this fucking world, and you're just like, and they're waving the flag, and that's why I'm not, that's why I can't with the flag, because it represents to me imperialism. And so it was just so disgusting watching that and hearing the propaganda pretend whitewash, right, what 9/11 was, as if it's like they're still trying to like make kids believe, Gen Z believe, like 9/11 was, just a regular whatever, like we were attacked so we had to retaliate. And it's crazy because my sister, I spent the weekend with her, she wasn't born until 2 years after 9/11. And so for them it's a different experience because they don't really know what 9/11 is. And we can't allow the whitewashing of that history, what we did, the millions of dead, the soldiers that came back and blew their heads off, the PTSD, the opioid addiction, all of these things that have happened as a result. We cannot let history be told in a way that excludes what really fucking happened, which is why that Tulsi tweet pissed me off, because it excludes America's fucking role in that.
Yeah, and that was the biggest problem with the tweet for me too as well. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't even the fact that what she said could be, argued that it could be mean this or that and stuff. It's the fact that you're excluding America's involvement, and that's what you were all about on the campaign trail. Let's end these wasteful regime change wars. That was the main problem. Well, we end that problem, a lot of stuff will fix itself, right? A lot of them won't want to kill us over here because we're not over there. That kind of mentality. And it's sad that people are still duped, and Israel
Yeah.
bombs Gaza religiously now at this point, and nobody says anything, nobody reports anything, and it's justified. And like I said to our children, they justified it. In school, we were taught all this stuff, and it was almost like a whole bunch of justification for Israel to do what they're doing.
Yep.
And it's sad. Johnny, nothing else? Okay. Trey Wright says, Bernie Sanders will be my Halloween costume this year, and I'm going to be the biggest establishment cuck-ass fraud I can be. Trey, I want to see it, baby. Let's give us a little...
Trey, we need a picture of
Get your Bernie Sanders on. Let me hear you do it. Say Knish. Say Goulden's mustard. Jig Forever says, the attacks on you and other honest reporters like Niko face looks coordinated and planned to me. Just saying.
Yeah.
They're saying the attacks we take is coordinated and planned and whatnot.
I mean, the obsession with people who are, like, powerless, in a way, right? Like, I don't have that kind of power. But the obsession, and I see it with Misty and others, too. Like, they're just obsessed. They're obsessed. They're literally could be joining a protest, which is what we're going to talk about, the End the Damn Wars protest and what that means, and all of that. But like, they could be doing that. They could be going after AOC, other people, representatives with power, all this shit. But they're not. Instead, they're hyper focused on discrediting people who happen to be talking about the biggest story that a lot of people aren't talking about, which is, of course, the boop boop and the additional medications that are the doctors not pushing that due to the CDC and everywhere else is killing people. Like, the people are being killed. This is a real virus that actually attacks vulnerable people that have of no use to the empire, right? And any sort of hesitancy, and I think even Caitlin Johnstone said something about how, like, the slightest bit of hesitancy or the slightest bit of, like, questioning makes you an immediate anti-vaxxer. And that is what I think is the biggest thing. It's like, are these attacks coordinated? Yeah, I mean, I think there's a level of COINTELPRO. We've talked to Cynthia McKinney. We know what that is, right? But there has to be something there, because I think people see the writing on the wall. My time's up. We're not going to get to be the gatekeepers as easily as we thought we could. People are realizing what's what. So you become a threat, and you become a threat. The more fearless you are, the more, you don't let fear manipulate you, and you speak the truth that you are a threat. They will do everything to malign. Yeah. Look what they did to Julian Assange. Look what they do to every single fucking person that has anything truthful to say against the empire.
And they have infinite resources, right? They print their own money, so it doesn't make a difference. Everybody has a price, right? So they'll find that price and they'll pay. And it seems like a lot of us, they have these people out there that will kind of just, they'll do coordinated attacks. They'll follow their leader because they understand that it's, like we say, it's psychological warfare, right? So they understand how the psychology of people work. And
they want to break people.
They do.
Yeah.
But also they understand how they gather people and mob mentality attack people, right? Because people are part of clans and they want to they want to wear that cloak of virtuosity,
mob mentality,
right?
Again.
So it's one person attacks and then they all start attacking. They know who they are. All you have to do is, if you're a CIA asset, just pay a couple people and you'll get thousands of people attacking you because they understand which strings to pull and whatnot. So yes, I kind of agree with you. That it does seem coordinated. So who knows? I mean, we can only do what we can do and speak our truths.
Just
and
don't
that's
give
it.
them ammunition. I mean, I think, at some point, you can explain yourself, you can defend yourself to ad nauseum. But at some point, it's like, fuck them. Because they're going to find something wrong with you no matter what. Yeah. You don't owe them shit.
Yeah. Johnny, you got anything to say before we get into the event of Saturday, September 11th?
No,
you want to show this now or after?
No, let's just go, Johnny.
Go ahead.
All right, so let's talk about this because this was a great event.
Important.
Johnny was back here at home base. He was tapping into us in Sacramento. He was tapping into people in Washington. He was tapping into L.A. I think we were trying to get Fort Lauderdale, but we didn't get anything right because they were closing down the roads and whatnot. But I just really want to say that I came back last night, and as I was doing the folder, when I took a little break, my break was to watch Johnny's work, and that's how he put this all together. And I thought it was an amazing video. Guys, if you haven't got a chance, please go to our YouTube or our Rokfin and watch the footage of what happened. At one point, Adam Koketch, which was up by you in Sacramento, was speaking, was giving a really intriguing, awesome kind of speech. I mean, there were some interesting things about it, the way he talked about the Taliban and whatnot. But as he was playing that speech, Johnny was showing the people walking in Washington. And as I'm watching this Washington rally, okay, there's about 100 people, right? A little bit under 100, maybe 75, whatever. But the diversity, fam.
Yeah.
It just drove me crazy. Mad Max got his butt up off his show and went out there to speak. Medea Benjamin, same thing, went out there, got out there, went and speak. Magnus put this whole thing together.
Yeah.
I saw Olivia Rondeau there. She was a Republican, a right-wing Trumpist supporter and stuff. So you saw the spectrum of people standing in solidarity against the empire to end the damn wars.
Yep.
I just thought it was something special. It was something small. Obviously, there was some pushback for some people who were saying, oh, how are you supporting Boogaloo Boys? That's bullshit. But once again, Andrew gave a great speech when he was asked why he was putting it together. It doesn't make a difference what ism you follow. If you're against empire, get your butt out here and let it be known that we want to stop these endless wars.
Yeah, so let's go through the thread a little bit because I thought this was important. And credit to Ford Fisher, who is in D.C., who got a lot of these really great clips in D.C. Credit to Johnny for bringing it all together. But I honestly... the people that are trashing this, I don't know about you, but those people are a detriment because think about this. This is a coalition of people who are from all parts of the political spectrum and they're standing against imperialism. That, guys, is a threat to the establishment. That is a very large threat. This is something they don't want. This is something that they don't need right now, especially with somebody like Magnus, who's such a controversial figure for, because the Boogaloo Boys have been, placed as this monolith, even though they're not. And we can talk about that, what it means and what they should do or whatever. But I wanted to read what Ford said in his video thread. He said, today a controversial coalition of activists included libertarians, conservatives, socialists, communists, and anarchists held a hashtag End the Damn Wars march in Washington, D.C. And there you go. We played some of it. Or you can play some of it.
Damn wars! No more damn wars! And the damn wars! No more damn wars!
And then they started saying, free Edward Snowden, free Julian Assange. And they continued chanting that, walking along Penn Avenue. Jail war criminals. Fuck Biden. Fuck Trump.
Free Edward Snowden!
Free Edward Snowden! Free Edward Snowden!
Free Julian Assange!
Free Julian Assange!
Jail war criminals!
Jail war criminals!
Free Julian Assange!
Free Julian Assange!
Jail war criminals!
Jail war criminals!
What do we want? What do we want?
It's crazy too that
Show me
right,
what
you'll see
democracy
Paula Jean Swerge in there,
Yeah.
Marie Fonseca. I mean, this is just like, this is what we want. This is
Yeah.
the coalition that we're starting to talk about,
Yeah.
whatnot. And I really just disagree with anybody who's pushing it back against this because of Magnus and saying it's a Boogaloo Boy and whatnot and stuff.
Magnus is
Yeah.
one person.
Yeah.
The Boogaloo Boys were a couple of people, and one of them was trans, and the other one was black. Get the hell out of here with your bullshit. Like, seriously? Stop.
Jabari even said, from Black Lives Matter 757, he goes, no, they think they're a white, conservative group, whatnot, that's all about white nationalism. No, they're a libertarian-minded group that's against the government, and that's who they are.
Yeah.
Now, they're not monolithic. Obviously, the ones in Washington are not anywhere close to the ones that are in Michigan. But, Magnus has done a great job reaching across the board. Like I said, Olivia Rondeau is there, and she was a hardcore Trumper. Seeing all these people of all different walks of life. And even when I went out, fam, I wore my Black Panther shirt, and there was a libertarian kind of throwing, talking about stuff. And when I first walked there, saying about illegal immigrants, and I was like, I don't agree with you there, but let's just end the damn fucking wars. You know what I'm saying? But that's what's going to happen. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
This is also a place, and, you got to use this place and platform to talk to people you disagree with.
Right.
Calmly and respectfully, and get them to understand where you're coming from. They might learn something. You might learn something. It's important.
It is. And even Medea Benjamin spoke, and you can play it there. She said, And the damn wars. Stop pouring money down the blockade of the black hole of militarism.
Many of us have called for the Pentagon budget to be cut in half. Cut it by $350 billion, and we'd still be by far the country with the largest military budget in the world. But at the very least, let us not increase the military budget, like the members of Congress are now trying to do. Not only increase it to where Biden had asked for an increase, but even $25 billion more than Biden had asked for. So for all of those politicians, we have to say, end the damn wars and stop pouring our money down the black hole of militarism.
John, did you want to give a little context to that speech right over there, or are you going to do it later on in the...
Well, I mean, Marie, I interviewed Marie in the live stream, and she was saying that Medea Benjamin at first was told that a white supremacist was holding the End the Damn Wars protest, and then that she went to go see what it's all about, and then she sat down and talked to Magnus, and according to Marie, they had a good conversation, and then she wasn't originally planned to speak there, and then she spoke. So that's what happened.
You guys see this? No. It's huge. I'm glad she did that. You know, I don't agree with her on everything, right? And I hope she and Franco spoke. But here's the thing. I'm really irritated. I'm really actually fucking angry that these idiots have some sort of way to get to misalign a protest that is anti-war as a white supremacist protest. Like, what kind of a moron are you? Like, right. Do you see any Klansmen there? Do you even see a Confederate flag, a Proud Boy? None of that shit. You might see a Trump hat, maybe. I don't know. You said that woman there is a Republican. Oh, well, who cares? Hey, if you voted for Joe Biden and you're there, I consider you the same as a Trumper. Because for me, or maybe you works, I don't know. Because for me, like, Joe Biden's a fucking Republican. Yeah. So, I mean, these little, like, oh, no, but, like, no, we don't have time for that. Get on board or get out of the way.
Well, let me say this much, too. I know what you're talking about, the idiots, when you say that, but there was also some people out there that have sane mind, I think, that are getting this wrong, too, as well. So my message to you people out there, the non-idiots that I'm talking about, like the people that we normally agree with a lot,
yeah,
I think that there's been some pushback from some of you folks out there. I think it's wrong. I think that you're 1,000% wrong to bash this in any way, shape, or form. This is what it means to stand in solidarity with a common goal is to end the damn wars. That is important. That is imperialism at its finest, and we need to end it. So this, to me, was a positive step in the right direction. Because I've said it before, even if there's this racist person with no power, what was it that you don't want to punch that person in the face? You want to punch the CIA in the face.
Right.
I think you said that on and I was laughing hysterically. I'm like, yeah, she just said it right there. Like, who do you want to punch in the face? The people with real power? You know, that act like they're your friends and that they act like they're doing stuff for people of color and the poor people when they turn around and they spread imperialism.
They spread imperialism and they create the conditions for fascism with their own actions.
Yeah.
Let's hear the white supremacists speak. Magnus Medea. Magnus, you know, I'm joking, but I mean, let's hear what he has to say.
This madness must end. This is a call for unity. Across all political ideologies, across all of our differences and divisions, to realize the horrors of these wars and bring them to their conclusion. To the environmentalists who are sick of watching the military-industrial complex burn our world, stand up and be heard. To the conservatives who are sick of watching our economy be dragged into the dirt for an empire that no one asked for, stand up and be heard. To the liberty-minded who are sick of watching our civil liberties be crushed and sapped away, all for a war on terror that's done nothing to save us. Stand up and be heard. To the progressives who are sick of watching Americans struggle and starve while being told there's nothing we can do, all while we spend trillions of dollars on war. To the leftists who are sick of watching cultures and nations around the world be placed under the boot of empire, their resources stolen, their sovereignty crushed. Stand up and be heard. To the veterans and active duty military who are sick of being told to fight and die for wars of profit and deceit, stand up and be heard. I believe the only path forward is unity. What we face is an institution with decades of propaganda, near limitless resources, the support of multi-million-dollar companies and legions of bought and paid-for policymakers. Alone we are isolated, we are marginalized, but together, hand in hand, we can send a message that cannot be silenced, cannot be jailed, cannot be divided, and cannot be ignored. End the damn wars!
That was a pretty good speech, fam.
That was a pretty great speech.
That was
And
a
you know
pretty
what?
good speech, fam.
I have to point out, he literally hit it on the nose with every group. With every single group. Conservatives, fiscal. Libertarians, civil liberties. Leftists, the stop bombing the
Resource
boot of the empire.
extraction
Yeah. Climate activists. The burning of our planet. I mean, he even said progressives, you know, putting the money where it shouldn't be. I mean, he hit every single thing. And that's exactly it. We all have different reasons for wanting an end to the wars. But we all want an end to the fucking wars. So why don't we just come together and fucking end the wars? I don't, like, it's not difficult. You don't have to like and go to a barbecue with Magnus. All I'm asking is you go to these direct actions and find people that you share something, a common ground with, and then build upon that. That's how you begin a general strike. You don't begin a general strike by saying, oh, we're going to have a general strike at this date without doing the groundwork to get it there. And that's why these other progressives, these other idiots, like, they say, well, when we don't have the right unions, we don't have this and that. No, that's not what I'm talking about. We need the right structure, the right organization to get people on board. And that's how you do it. Kudos to all the people who organized, to all the people who literally took their time to fly to DC, to drive to DC. I know so many people did. It was beautiful seeing Marie there. It's just awesome. It's just awesome seeing people come together and do direct actions. Screw anybody, the people who are trying to say this isn't going to do anything. I think this is an amazing step, because there's a reason why Magnus calls his podcast Unity or Death, because
what are the choices?
Either we're together or we're gonna fucking die.
Because that is the main plan of the oligarch, right? It's divide and conquer. Keep
Yeah.
us separate, keep us fighting each other so they can run off with all the money and resources. It's a simple plan. Happens to work, says George Carlin. And I do want to send a special shout out and love to Max Blumenthal and Medea Benjamin, who got themselves out there, because I know the pressure they were facing as leftists to go out there and you know, get ridiculed for that. Garland, I know he's a stud. He go do it anyways. Garland go talk to anybody. He don't care. But for Max and Medea to show up, I thought that was huge. Paula Jean, I commend you. I tip my hat off to you for doing so as well. So I just wanted to say that there. Did you want to show anybody else, Johnny? Or there's Paula Jean. I mean, there's Max Blumenthal. You know.
Yeah, let's play
we
that
have
one.
Max, friend of the show.
Where is our plan? Where is our plan to stand up for civil liberties? Where is our plan to oppose presidential power when a Democratic president is behaving more fascist than perhaps Donald Trump ever did? Where is our plan? Our plan starts today. And what we need to recognize with our plan is that people who have opposed these wars, people who are opposing this catastrophic new normal, have less in common, politically in many cases, than people who are hypnotized by the mainstream narrative. So you have libertarians, you have leftists, you have socialists, communists, anarchists, whoever. They may have less in common, but they get that something really wrong is happening. And what we need to do is unite against the common foe, unite against the global predator class that is receiving new powers now. And we need to have unifying messages together. We can't be allowing ourselves to be divided when there are so many people hypnotized by this narrative and so many people in power who have unprecedented means at their disposal to crush us. So thank you for being out here today. Thank you for staying united. I really love the message, end the damn wars. That's all we need to say right now, because the war has come home. This is a class war on the people here. So let's keep fighting. Thank you.
Marie Fonseca did a great job. Johnny got a great interview with her. Guys, go check it out. Did you want to play Andrew's little clip real quick? I thought that because Andrew did a really great job, and it's down the other. Is that him?
Yeah.
I was talking about his interview, but this is cool. Let's listen to Andrew. I haven't heard this one.
Which one? That one?
No, down below, right there. This was well, listen to what Andrew says when he was putting this together.
Your perspectives out here. I've also seen criticisms like online of like, oh, you guys are working with those guys, that sort of thing. What's your sort of perspective on those types of people?
So I'm I'm an Assangeist. I can, and the quote that I use to describe all of this is one that Julian gave in 2009 when he said, all political ideologies are bankrupt to a greater or lesser extent. So to me, I don't care who you are. I don't care what ist or ism that you're assigning yourself to or that others label on you regardless of if it's true or not, like in Magnus's case. The thing that we care about here in this moment is ending the wars. That's not a socialist issue. That's not a capitalist issue. That's not a libertarian issue. It's not a green issue. It's not a People's Party issue. It's not an independent issue. It is literally a principled stance of ending the wars. And if people come here and they find a libertarian and a Green Party candidate and an independent and an MPP member and then a complete anarchist all coming together for the exact same words, end the damn wars. We can do it for so many other things. We've done it for Julian Assange. Today was our very first event doing this, and we have 13 events around the United States, including this one, and we have about 6 international events as well. So this is the very, very start of the new era of the anti-war movement.
Exactly.
When we get the idea, remember when we went out there, Jackson Hinkle put together the Force to Vote. We were going there like, okay, action for Assange, and what, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, fuck censorship. Let's do this. Let's start combining groups together.
None of this would have happened if we hadn't gone out there and all these people hadn't met and coalesced.
Yeah.
And been brought together. Because even MPP was there.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick Brana was there. I mean, like, I don't care. I don't have to be a loyal member of MPP or the Green Party or of anybody to say, salute, kudos, good for you for showing up and going. Like, I am so proud of what Magnus did, what all these organizers did, what Andrew did, what everybody who really worked. Panda, what's her name? Kim.
It's Kimber Maddox.
Kimber Maddox.
Yes.
I call her Mean Panda by her Twitter. And she's not mean. And so it was just all of these organizing. I mean, I'm just so happy. It is the beginning of the anti-war movement. And, what Max Blumenthal said is right. You don't have to worry about anything else. It's just about ending the damn wars. That's where we're at right now. And, I loved how he said the predator class. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I love that this
Max
message
wants a spot on this couch over here, buddy.
Across. I just love it.
Yeah.
I love it when I see us all echoing similar messages. I don't get mad. I think it's great. That means we're all on the same page.
I got to say Predator Class on one of my favorite shows, Crosstalk, and somebody put it in the highlights. Predator Class, I love that and stuff.
Shout out to Franco.
Yeah, shout out to Frank
and Steve.
Steve Poikinen.
I like to use
Steve is
Predator
my Jiminy
class.
Cricket. He's always here. He's there. Steve and I had a conversation.
Jiminy Cricket's right on my arm, okay?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Johnny, say it again.
No, Steve is a lemur. We went over this.
Johnny was doing with Steve imitation. Let him do a Steve imitation.
No, wait. I gotta say this. So I saw Steve this weekend, and we were having a conversation after smoking a few bowls, and we were talking, and I'm like, Steve has been like the lemur in the meme, like the lemur monkey that's like, I told you all this was gonna happen, literally. And Steve's like, other people called me a lemur, and then he goes on to talk about how like a coalition of lemurs is called a conspiracy.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And there it is.
Stop.
That's not a lemur, though. I don't think so.
Well, I don't know what the hell it is.
Neither do I. What the hell is that thing?
It looks like a lemur.
That's
some sort of monkey.
Is that a real monkey or is that a fictional?
It is a lemur. It's like an albino lemur.
You're an albino lemur.
Whatever. Like,
can you guys understand, though, out there, why I was so upset with Tulsi and shit like that when she was spewing that shit while this was going on? Yeah. Because this is what I thought her utopia would be, right? Like, that was the whole thing. Right. It's about aloha. We go talk to people who are different than us. We don't fucking, attack them. If they think differently, we find ways that we can build bridges and come together. And that's why I was like, oh, my God. And you see these people out in the street who I am beyond so proud of, really. And Marie Fonseca did an amazing job too as well. Johnny got a great interview with her. Thank you so much,
thank you,
Medea.
fans, for everybody for showing up, whatever. Because I know that the pressure to not show up because it was Magnus was there. So kudos to all of those people
Yeah.
And
Black Unicorn was there too as well, right?
Yep.
And also Olivia Rondeau. Like I said, fam, I wanted to have her on the show.
Sure.
She's a capitalist to the bones. I wanted you and her to have a conversation of capitalism versus communism.
We both love Sky Daddy, so there's that.
Yeah, Sky Daddy did a little debate with Olivia, and it was so great because you learned so much because there was two different ideologies there, but they were adults and they had a great conversation. And you learned a lot from that. And I think that you can also, because I think that Sky Daddy's more of an anarchist than, like, a communist, anarcho-communist like you. So it's like a little bit different. So I'd like to have that conversation. So shout out to Olivia if you want to come on the show. Please hit us up. She was out there. And like I said, Andrew hit it on the nose. It doesn't matter what ist or ism you are.
Yep.
You're just together getting in the streets to say end the damn war. What's this short rant on shamelessly protesting already?
Yeah, so Glory Jones, because some people who, who I like and other people who I don't like were both bashing this whole thing. And Glory Jones, a biracial, amazing young lady who has literally will go talk to a Trump supporter about Assange while protesting for Black Lives, has this way about going about things. And she wrote this article and she said a couple things, right, that I think rung true. And I just wanted to read, I think the second paragraph, where she said, unfortunately, one of the things hindering this movement and this series of protests from galvanizing larger numbers of current activists is the involvement of the, quote, Boogaloo Boys, a decentralized group of individuals known for running security for protests in Hawaiian shirts that have been called everything in the accusatory activist slander dictionary from white supremacist fashbugs to SJW wing Antifa supermobs. Upon hearing of the End the Damn Wars protests, a portion of people in activist spaces loudly proclaim that we mustn't go to anti-war protests with the Boogaloo Boys because they belong in hell. You want to know how much I care about those concerns? Better yet, what about the victims of war and those bearing the scars of imperialism who need and deserve more support? You think they would care? I really do hope that people can let their conviction for a cause carry them past their feelings about a certain collective or individual, because particularly since the dawn of COINTELPRO, every movement in the United States has been contaminated with feds, grifters, and pimps. This is something we have to deal with, unfortunately, but it should never stop us from protesting for a just cause. You know who can go to hell before the Boogaloo Boys? Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Sean King.
Wow.
Is the fact that they uplift the BLM movement going to stop me from going to a protest against police brutality? No. Is the swath of culture war grifters that use anti-mandate protests as a means to enrich themselves or a standard Republican campaign going to stop me from protesting against medical tyranny? No. I can keep going because, like I previously stated, every just cause is infiltrated. While it's a sad reality, it can also be a good sign that it means your cause is worth something. If soulless opportunists see monetary profits or the government sees a threat that needs to be neutralized, it means that your movement has the power and conviction worth something. So go ahead and read her article.
Wow.
Very, very, and Glory was angry. Glory was angry. Yeah, she said in this tweet, power in defense of freedom is greater than power in behalf of tyranny and oppression, because power, real power, comes from our conviction, which produces action, uncompromising action. Minister Malcolm X. So there you go.
Awesome.
Yep.
And I was out there with her when she made that sign. She was out there screaming. We had a great time. And, there wasn't a lot of people there, but we still went out there and did what we had to do. Ungi brought his guitar. It was just a fun time, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I really didn't realize the impact until I got home and watched the video that Johnny had put together. And like I said, as the people were marching in D.C., he was playing co-catch, having that speech, and it was really just magical in a way. Hearing what he had to say. This is a hardcore libertarian, and then you just see all this group that's so diverse marching through the streets of Washington together to say, despite our differences, we want to all together collectively end these fucking damn wars. It was a powerful message and a powerful day.
Yep.
Yeah, and the fact that people were out there yelling, fuck the CIA, fuck the FBI, out there in D.C., the CIA and FBI's homes, and fuck the Pentagon, defund the Pentagon, fuck Biden, fuck Trump, they were yelling. All that is amazing. And the wars, that's amazing. When was the last time there's been a anti-war protest like that? Get out of Iran. I mean, that's specific to Iran.
Khashoggi was the last one, yeah.
And then, just a general one like that. That's awesome,
And they can build upon that too, with still what's happening with Palestine, with what's happening in Afghanistan and everything that happened there. Julian Assange. I mean, so many things. General strike. This is how it begins, guys. This is great.
Yeah. 3-chord grifter. On the Rokfin says, "Hey, pasta, what is it?" Thank you so much for the super rate contribution. Thank you for the 121 people hanging on a Rokfin. We have about 300 over plus on YouTube's. This is the time to get over to Rokfin because it's the last section, and we can't talk about this on YouTube because YouTube are a bunch of fascists.
Yeah, and it's a short. It's not going to be a long section, but we just wanted to make sure to put it in because there's so much going on that every day, every time we go live, we want to cover something.
And 9/11 was the start of all this whole situation, right? It was the start of like, okay, we have to start censoring speech. We have to start looking into everything. Snowden showed us, the NSA was starting to look at us 3 times as much as they were looking at China and Russia put together because they want to know what their own citizens were doing. Because who's the biggest threat to the empire? Its own citizens. And you better believe that. That's why this shit in the street with them marching together is not what they want to see. It's actually, it scares them. So once again, big ups to all those people, despite the pushback that we get for going out there from a protest that was organized by a boogaloo boy. I don't give a fuck. He did a great job. He brought a diverse crowd together. And it was awesome to see that. So that's why we have to get off YouTube and we got to get over to Rokfin because that was the start of our civil liberties being cut down too as well, fam. It wasn't just about we're going to go set the Middle East on fire and increase the budgets and the money of the military-industrial complex. It was also about we're going to get the big tech to start censoring shit left and right because we got to keep our citizens under control because they're starting to find out what's what.
Exactly. So, Johnny, say bye to YouTube. Guys, bye. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube. Try to get over to the Rokfin or to Odyssey. And, yeah, Johnny had a good find. I feel like we've kind of mentioned this, but it's worth reminding people, really, that even CNN is admitting. And when CNN admits that there's something up with the boop-boop.
Well, let's get this. We're getting off.
Yeah.
Bye, YouTube.
Bye, guys.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to flash this just in case maybe you've seen it already. So...
Yeah, it's insane that we have
you can read that. The war has changed. So
get over to Rokfin,
I love
guys.
how they say war has changed. Come over to Rokfin.
It's a short segment, but it's a
Look
juicy
at Johnny's
segment.
find.
Right, fam? It's juicy?
Juicy.
By the way, the Raiders are in